Good morning, everyone. So today is Sunday. It is quite early, and I decided to head over to Williams Grove Flea Market. Now, this is a flea market that I go to quite often, and today I have told myself littles, just pick up little things, smalls, non-breakables. We all know how that'll turn out, so I've cleared out my trunk. And yeah, really excited for the day. Today is supposed to be 65 degrees, so I am all about that. Just heading out there, might have an egg sandwich for breakfast. There's nothing like going to a flea market just to see all the different wares that the vendors have. I love going anywhere where there are different vendors selling their niche, so great fun. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's see what we can find today at Williams Grove Flea Market. So this morning turned out to be a lot chillier than I expected. I knew the temperatures were supposed to be 65 degrees, but when you get to a flea market at 6 or 7 in the morning, items have frost on them. I am a die-hard flea market attender. So I should have worn a warmer coat, but when you're carrying cameras and batteries and bags, yeah, coats are the last of my thought process. I really enjoy this type of flea market. Most of the vendors here are laying their wares on blankets or, a lot of this stuff is in boxes. I love the thrill of the dig and the hunt. Now, with having said that, I don't like when I come across a vendor that has very high prices that are higher than eBay, and their items are bought at auction. I feel a lot of these vendors are going to auctions. When you see these box lots like this, I could be wrong about that, but when I go to auctions, I'm seeing a lot of these vendors. And while I could just attend auctions, which I am attending quite a few, and I could buy at the auction price, I don't necessarily want boxes and boxes of items, the good, the bad, the ugly, the damaged, coming into my house. So sometimes to get up early and come to the flea market and just enjoy the dig of somebody else's purchase is great. Here I'm looking through a box with old photos and postcards. I did come across a bracelet that I looked at quickly and a few pins. I didn't feel the pins were old enough, so I left them behind. When I look for postcards or photographs, mostly I'm looking for people as the subject of the image, and I like them to be in very good condition. I always say if I could sell one thing as I grow older, it would probably be ephemera, meaning paper, not really newspapers, but more like postcards, photographs, letters, things like that. Okay, here I found a lid. I loved that print. Not sure what company that was, but I was really hoping for the jar. I imagine the jar got broken. Now, sometimes you can sell highly decorative lids and people just use them as, a piece of their decor. But in my opinion, the lid would have to be something a little more high-end and a little larger. So I'm sure many of you will notice I have lost a fingernail. That happened in the morning while I was getting ready to come to the flea market, and I was not going to take the time to press on a new nail. So you guys are just going to have to put up with that one of my fingers is without a fingernail, a fake fingernail. This business is not really good for wearing press-on nails, but I do try to dress up my hands a little bit. I looked at that pink, I'm going to call it china with a loosely term, saying that as a term. I looked at that pink china and it was not really something that I would want, but here I am spotting a piece of glass. Recognize this right away. This is Fenton's coin print. I love that ruffle edge. Look at that. How pretty is that? Now, while this piece is not in great condition, that's what happens when things get put into box slots. It did have a few scratches. I go ahead and hold on to that to see what the owner wanted for it. Also finding these gorgeous plates. Now, recently I mentioned that people do not hang plates on their walls anymore. I have to correct myself, which you guys caught on to that. People do hang gorgeous plates like this on their walls. This is a hot trend that I'm seeing. What I meant to say is that I don't see many people hanging plates where it's like a movie star image, like John Wayne or Gone with the Wind plates, different mass-produced plates that have some kind of image on it that's not beautiful, let's call it, but the florals still do quite well. Shabby chic decorators will still use that. Shabby chic, I'm sure we all know, is Rachel Ashwell, and you cannot use that term in your listing, but that whole romantic shabby look is still very much in, and plates become a big part of that. Okay, so I am holding on to the Fenton bowl, having to put it down every time I am digging through a box. I thought this dog print was beautiful. I thought it might have been made with a wood burning tool, but I don't think that was the case. I think that was just, again, a mass-produced piece. I don't even know how I spotted this little, I'm going to call it a coin purse, from that deep within this box. See this beadwork? Beautiful. Right away my eye caught that this is something well made. Neiman Marcus, absolutely yes. This lacquered wood container caught my attention. I'm not sure what the original use for that was. Maybe coasters? Just a guess. I put it back. Now I do carry my tote bag on my shoulder, the Go Out and Get What's Yours tote bag that my kids gave me for my 60th birthday. And for smaller pieces, that is working out great. I just pad the item with newspaper or plastic wrap and carry the smaller items on my shoulder. And that's what I've told myself today, smaller things. So the day starts out good, picking up smaller things. Here I'm looking at some letters, some mail, but I wasn't feeling it. Like I said, many of the vendors that attend here, or at least quite a few, I do see at the auctions. And a few times I have been in a bidding situation against them, but it's only when it is a smaller lot of items. I don't pick up, 20, 30 boxes in the box lots of items. I have no desire to have to take the bad with the mediocre with the good. I really like to just zero in and buy exactly what I want. Here I thought this was beautiful. I don't know that I know that mark. Just a candle holder. I thought this was quite pretty, but there was a small part of me that wasn't feeling that, so I did wind up putting that down, but I did carry it for a few minutes thinking about it. Somebody got into making cutting boards. Okay, so I think this is Bill's spot. Bill is a vendor there, and I buy quite a bit of pottery and art pieces from Bill. So here I'm looking at a set of 4 bowls. I really liked these. I believe these are redware. A lot of times this is the aesthetic that I look for. I don't know if I call this primitive. I don't know the proper term for the way that the glaze is applied. Maybe it's an abstract print. Definitely art pottery. So there we see me putting back the candle holder in favor of the 4 dishes. Bill's spot gets very crowded. So it is a challenge to film, to carry my tote bag, to carry the items that I'm purchasing, have a mask on, and try not to kill myself stepping over things. Let me just say that when masks are no longer a thing, this is one girl that will be very grateful. It really blocks my vision sometimes when I'm looking down because I really try to keep it pulled up fairly, close to my eyes, especially when we are all standing pretty close together. Here I felt like I was going to jump in that man's back pocket. Oy. I try to hit all of the vendors. There are quite a few that don't have too many items, so it's a little bit of an easier situation just to pass by and kind of scan. Here I'm finding a little wood owl piece of tree slice, and kind of sorry I didn't pick that up. I did see that it was a souvenir, but I don't know that that would have bothered anybody. I'm not quite sure what the vendor wanted for it, but I think that would have brought a good solid $15, which when something is easy to photograph, takes me all of 10 seconds, absolutely yes, I don't mind that if I can get it for $1. Here I'm looking at a vase. I recently sold a vase with a pine cone, I believe it was a pine cone theme, and so now it always catches my attention because that brought very good money, but that was a different brand. Okay, glass, art glass. I really try to hold everything up to the light. When there is an imperfection, you can usually see it better. And here I'm finding a beautiful blue vase. Now this is not a high-end, this is Victoria ware, it's ironstone, and the blue picture is just something that I'm always drawn to, so I go ahead and take it. I don't imagine that's going to bring more than, I'm going to say probably $20 to $25, but you can find, if you can find the foot baths in that same Victoria ware, those bring very good money. They're used as planters. So try to remember Victoria ware, ironstone foot baths, and also the cats do very well. But the piece I got was a simple picture, quite common, but still beautiful, and I do well with those. I think more than anything in this video, you're going to see a lot of feet. Really try to keep my camera down, but I am enjoying the heck out of my GoPro. After all of this camera learning and experimenting and just using, you know, you really have to use different cameras to see what you're going to become comfortable with when you're videoing twice a week. And the GoPro has been terrific. This is a little shoe shine box that has been turned into a mosaic piece. I thought that was quite good. Now I have the GoPro 7 and my only complaint, big complaint, is the batteries do not charge for a very extended period, and getting the little clasp off to take the camera out of the frame, because the GoPro is held in a frame, is a thing. You could kill your fingers doing it. So I'm really hoping that mine relaxes in time, but so far I have to use keys or a coin or something to get my GoPro out of the frame. So picture doing all of that. This job is not easy. Okay, here I think my shadow, I look like one of those people wearing stilts. Very much enjoying looking at this in a circus, like a clown up on stilts. Very long legs, very fun. Just entertaining myself over here. Okay, so even though we have this sound off, this gentleman was wonderful at this booth. He did say good morning to me while I was looking at a few pieces he had set up. And he acknowledged that I had my GoPro, so I knew he was comfortable with me filming, and he invited me to take a look at what was inside, and so I did. A lot of times I don't go into the outbuildings because when items are set up on a display like this, I feel like the price point is going to be fair, but it's going to be higher than what I want. Boy, was I wrong. And boy, was I wrong that I was going to be picking up small things. Yep, there she is. Would it be Lavenderclothesline at a flea market if I didn't schlep some big giant chandelier home? Guys, I think I'm bringing home a chandelier every time I come. But this thing is beautiful. Now, I don't know that this is genuinely old. I don't think so, but I thought the shape was really good. And I'm looking at the crystals. So from far away, I'm trying to tell if they are plastic or glass, because I always want my crystals to be glass. And here is the tap test. So in this part of the video, I had stepped out to see if the gentleman that was in charge of taking down chandeliers was around, and luckily he was. Might have been this woman's husband. She was a sweetheart. I think her name was Kathleen. So Kathleen, if you ever watch, thank you so much. And there is maybe your husband, maybe your helper, and another gentleman looking on, taking down a chandelier, two-man job. And these people were so gracious. And what did I pay for this? $15. I didn't even offer a lower amount. I felt that was more than fair. When somebody quotes me a very fair price, I go ahead and pay it. Almost immediately, I can tell if there's going to be something in a box that I'm interested in looking at, and usually I can tell if the vendor that's the owner of the items is going to be fair priced. Here I'm finding a simple Indiana glass amber fairy lamp. And while these are not a high dollar item, if I can get this for $1 or $2, I'll go ahead and buy it because fairy lamps are still highly collectible. Now, some of them that are put out by Fenton or a few other companies will bring very good money. I know the Viking ones can bring very good money, the owls, and just a few different patterns. But in my opinion, the Indiana ones don't really bring more than $10 or $15 on a good day. So I was holding on to it for a few minutes while I looked to see if there was anything else in the booth, because if you can bundle together and show the vendor that you're going to be buying more than one thing, sometimes you can get a little bit of a better price. When I asked what she wanted for the glass, she wanted $5, which if I wasn't going to resell it, if I just collected them, that's a very fair price to pay. But for me, that leaves no room for selling it after paying fees. So $5 was non-negotiable with this vendor, which again, I'm not sure that that's a good practice with flea market items, so I do gently put it back, but no love lost because those are quite common, and like I said, I probably would have gotten $10 to $15 for it. I have to say this vendor did have a very interesting mix of items. So I imagine she is going to auctions and maybe then mixing her boxes, because what was in one box was so different from the next box. I don't buy a lot of books these days. I'm still just sticking to Bibles, yearbooks, and maybe a few other rare books. Here I'm seeing a lot of glasses, and they were in great shape. But to be truthful, I didn't ask the vendor the price because a couple of things I had asked about the price, and this piece was no different. This is Fenton, beautiful blue, but not a very high return on this. These aren't that expensive on eBay. I'm going to say, I don't know, 15 to 18 maybe. And she wanted $15 for it, non-negotiable. So I do love that color. It's a real Tiffany blue color, but I'm not looking to collect it. Here right at the corner of my eye, I'm spotting a man in a pickup truck that just pulled up, and people are starting to gather, and that is the normal routine around here at Williams Grove. And I'm spotting a red lawn chair. Yep, for resale, probably on Facebook Marketplace. And when I kind of mulled around, kind of moseyed around to see what was going on, the two gentlemen had already asked for it. So I quickly move on. I believe they were going to pay $35 for it, which I feel was a fair price. Vintage lawn furniture can bring very good money, but it is quite cumbersome. I haven't found that it's very heavy. I mean, some of the cast iron pieces are, but the aluminum pieces are fairly good to carry around. So here we have hot pretzel braids. These are so delicious. And I think the gentleman recognizes me. He also sees me with the GoPro, and he has let me film before. So we are just saying good morning. And I was telling him that I will give him a shout out. So if you are at Williams Grove Flea Market, you want to try the hot pretzel braids. So good. This table is catching my attention because I'm not quite sure if these pieces are just coming out of like a ceramics, you know, where you make your own ceramic figure, but how good is this fox? Oh, I liked him. He does have a small chip on his ear, and if I was to put this type of thing in my house, this is something I would probably collect. His nose also has a little bit of paint loss. And yes, you could touch this up with magic marker or something like that, but when I buy a piece for personal use, because I don't buy things too often, you know, like that, I want them to be in really, really good shape. So a lot of these items were not necessarily old, but I thought they had a good mix of interesting animals and different figures. Quite a few of them had damage though, and this cat is very scary. A scaredy cat. I did like this cat. This is one of the molds. Somebody's ceramics, again, made in a ceramics class. I thought that would be Atlantic Mold Company. I think Atlantic has quite a few cat molds. The white one is famous. I probably have a few of them in my basement warehouse right now. The flea market was quite easy to navigate when I was not filming. With filming, I'm really trying not to bump into people. I thought this print of Jesus was very unique. I have seen a lot of prints of Jesus. I don't think I've ever seen that one. So that was interesting there. I'm not saying it's not common. I've just never seen it before. Postcards. Okay, I'm jumping subjects, I know. These postcards were a lot of landscapes, buildings, monuments, not really something that I look for. Now, when I pick up a large lot of postcards, I divide them into categories. I will do like people, places, things like that, and then I will sell them as a group for the most part. Jewelry, $1, $2 mostly. So, of course, the thing you pick out is not going to be the $1 or $2. Just saying. I was kind of hoping that quilt would be embroidered, but it was not. It was printed. When my daughter Melissa went off to college, we did an embroidered quilt for her. Each family member or friend took a square of material and embroidered a special memory. Well, they drew it. I did all the embroidery, and I'm not sure if she still has that quilt, but it was something to send her off to college with. I don't know if Melissa Fresh Blooming Clothing is posting yet, but she and Bear are fostering 2 little dogs. So sweet. So I'm really hoping she gets to film their antics. Just adorable. I don't know how you foster dogs and not want to keep them and not give them up. So we shall see what happens with that. I do like when a vendor sets up like this. Now, I really don't like items like right on the ground. But for me, I rather shop with a vendor that is just laying out his wares on different blankets or tarps rather than setting everything up like a brick and mortar store and charging top dollar. I don't mind bending down and digging through boxes or looking through things on the ground. For me, there is just more of the thrill of the hunt when it's like that. Now, I'm saying that at this age, give me a couple of years, and I probably will not want to be bending down, squatting up and down all day long. It's a workout for sure. Along the way here somewhere, a gentleman recognized me from the YouTube channel. His name was Timothy. So giving Timothy a shout out. He was very fun to speak with. He was a reseller, is a reseller. And we got into talking about what we were selling. Here I'm putting my finger gently on the face of that print to make sure there's no texture and it was smooth. I believe that's Rembrandt, but what do I know? Looks like a Rembrandt. And I have been to quite a few art museums. When I lived in New York, I would bring my mom, or Lisa and I would go in, or my ex-husband and I, when we were married, we'd go into the different museums. So you would think I would have some kind of knowledge. Nope, not so much. But I do enjoy beautiful, beautiful artwork, beautiful paintings. There's a lot of golf shoes. In my opinion, most people on the golf course are wearing sneakers. They're wearing like the FootJoy or the Nike golf sneakers, I'm going to call them, rather than the old-fashioned saddle shoe looking spectator type style. So I don't know. I should comp those to see if they are a big seller because I see quite a few. There is an Asian, I'm going to call that a diorama. Lots of fishing poles, lots of tools. I wish I knew more about fishing equipment. This is very much in the country, so not only do you see fishing apparatus, but also a lot of hunting, a lot of different type outdoor sports equipment. Okay, this woman right here was holding a pair of pants I was hoping she'd put down. So I'm trying not to hover too closely. I don't know what brand those were, but I wanted those for me. They're like a khaki green cargo style with a satin trim on the bottom, and yep, she bought them. Right away, this frog caught my attention. I believe he was a canister. Somebody had repainted his eyes. I thought he was still sweet, but not worth picking up. Now, a few figurines of animals have brought very good money, but for the majority of the ones that I have in my collection or have sold, I'm going to say under $20. Probably more like the $15 mark. Flatware. Always look at flatware. I like to buy it without the chest. So when they sell a great amount, especially if it's matching and has a beautiful pattern, and it's in like a baggie or just loose and I can collect it all together, I always pick that up. Now, if it's something, let me just preface that with saying, if it's something that's really not high quality, very like dollar store quality, I do not pick it up. So for this video, we're gonna end with a shot of lots of meat on a grill that looks so delicious. Sausages, hot dogs, the line is usually down the aisle for this guy's barbecue. So good. Thanks so much for watching. Go out and get what's yours.